More breaking news that's just come in, so let's quickly shift our attention to details that we have accessed in the latest. Now, this is the IDF sharing more details. Another footage that the IDF has shared, Israeli Air Force fighter jet intercepting an Iranian UAV right before crossing into Israeli territory. An Israeli Air Force fighter jet identified and intercepted an Iranian UAV before it entered Israeli territory, preventing potential harm to Israeli civilians. And that's what Israel has been up to the last so many days, ever since the assault was first unleashed by Israel and United States combined. But this is the latest that IDF is sharing, and we'll put out that footage on our screens as well for a better understanding for our viewers. Sanjay Suri continues to stay on with us. Sanjay, this is what we were talking about. Iran is very much still launching missiles and drones, directing it towards Israel, as of the rest of the Middle East, irrespective of the assurance and the promise that's come in from President Pezeshkian. But tell us a little bit about this one footage that we're playing on our screens, and also what this tells us about the plan in place as of today, as of the second week of the ongoing West Asia conflict, at least from the Israeli perspective.
You know, the attacks on Israel will continue, and there's no assurance from anyone in Iran that those will cease. But what we are seeing by more and more of this imagery is, in a sense, more and yet more of the same, which is aerial attacks. And this is bombardment. Clearly, there is an overwhelming advantage that Israel and the US have, and no doubt people in Iran know that, the military in Iran knows that. And certainly they will destroy what they can from the air. This destruction will be effective only if it were to go all the way to complete annihilation of every single missile launcher, every single missile, every single drone. That is a big, big ask. These are units spread across Iran. Iran is half the size of India. It's a big country. And therefore, this is going to be a very difficult campaign to complete by way of smothering these defenses entirely from the air. The only way that effectively could be done would be from the ground, and by a regime in place that is determined to put this down. We are not even seeing the beginning of that yet. From the government, we are seeing a determination. Well, this is a dream that people will take to their grave. From the people, we have not seen any significant protests on the street. It's 8 days into the war now. So not an outpouring of anger by way of street protests, as no doubt President Trump had expected, and expected within a couple of days. We are not seeing the beginning of that yet. So the limits to the aerial assault are becoming evident, even though the successes of this assault are also before us.
These are signs of the conflict for sure widening. Sanjay, thank you for joining us with that update. We'll keep coming back to you. Aman is with us in the studio as well. Aman, we keep up with this footage. The IDF says this is a UAV, this has been circled onto, and this was downed or intercepted rather much before it crossed into the Israeli territory. Now, the efficiency, the effectiveness is something that the IDF has been claiming in giving it back to Iran in countering the Iranian missiles and drones. Having said that, a few Israeli soldiers have also lost their lives. The number is far less in Israel as compared to Iran, but surely the conflict seems to be widening by the day.
Well, absolutely, Kritswin. See, what is happening, I think, in this war front now is that since Israel is taking down the Iranian ballistic missile firing capability, it's almost down by 90%. That is what Israel has also said, that from the first day, when nearly 500 ballistic missiles were fired by Iran, now the number is down to less than maybe 30 or 40, lower double digits. So clearly, Iran's ballistic missile firing capability has been reduced. Also, the Israel strikes, which are happening on the headquarters inside Iran, the Iran Revolutionary Corps, or be it the missile headquarters, which is there, from where they're firing all these command and control centers, are being targeted. So Iran's capability, I think, is getting reduced by the day, and that is why more and more interceptions of their UAVs, of their missiles is happening, not just by Israel, but even today the United Arab Emirates has also put out a figure, which is a big figure on how many Iranian UAVs and missiles they have brought down in the last 1 week or so. So that number is also increasing. Clearly, Iran, which had a great, it disturbed all these Middle East countries, by firing missiles at them at their US bases as well as their airports over the few days back. Now its capability is definitely reduced, but that doesn't seem to deter Iran from continuing to up the ante. I think this is a more case now of both the countries trying to show which is the superior power. And Donald Trump clearly in his tweet saying that we are fighting this battle to make Iran surrender and completely on our terms. So I think that is what Donald Trump is now saying, that there are going to be no talks. I think for the next few days also we'll keep seeing Iran trying to do these strikes. But I think the capability of all the Middle East countries, even Israel and the UAE, is now much higher to stop more damage from Iran.
And the United States certainly is asking for a big ask at the moment, but we need to put out more breaking news. Aman, stay on with us. We'll go across to Sanjay in just a bit too. UAE air defenses have also intercepted 15 ballistic missiles, 119 UAVs, UAE air defense system detected today, which is 7th of March, 16 ballistic missiles, of which 15 were intercepted and destroyed, while one ballistic missile fell into the sea. Now, this, remember, has been the strategy that has been adopted by all of these Middle East nations, Sanjay. And that's what it appears to be looking like, at least in the next few days. Though President Pezeshkian has said that we will not be the first movers. We will ensure that we don't inflict any harm onto the Gulf nations. But the US military assets are very much located in these Gulf nations, which also means Iran continue its assault. And that is why there seems to be no clear de-escalation, especially given not much is being hoped on the diplomatic front. No mediation conversations whatsoever, no big breakthrough whatsoever.
Well, the US clearly doesn't want to mediate. They want to go for the kill, as does Israel. They're on to it. They're, militarily speaking, remarkably successful in the assault on Iran. There is a significant degradation of the missile capacity of Iran, even if it's not entire at the moment. But given that it's 8 days into it, and if 90% of that capacity has been taken out as claimed, then that is, militarily speaking, a great success. But whether there is peace between Iran and its Arab neighbors is going to depend upon the extent and the entirety with which the entire military system in Iran obeys Pezeshkian's orders. The fact is that Iran, as a matter of policy and as a consequence of a decision by the regime, splintered its military units so that they can act independently without central command. This now puts Iran right in the middle of an odd kind of intersection where the president may issue a central command as the president, but that units have been trained and set up and administered to ignore such commands and act on their own. There is a communication issue here, and there's an issue of consistency between the president's orders and the units that are operative on the ground. So if there is a communication enough and that is effective enough, this then can lead to some cessation, otherwise not.
Well, we've also seen some very expensive air defense interceptors of the United States being damaged entirely through these ballistic missiles too. But let's, for the moment, look at this. This is UAE air defense successfully intercepting Iranian ballistic and cruise missiles. And they've kept up with the defense, Aman. They've kept up with the defense, but look at the numbers they've put out here. 8 detected, 8 intercepted. I think this is from the very beginning of the ongoing conflict?
Yes, it is. And these are some really big figures. This is since a week since the conflict. Look at the number of ballistic missiles fired by Iran at just the UAE. 221 ballistic missiles fired by Iran at the UAE. 205 were intercepted, says the UAE. 14 had impacts in the sea, and 2 had impacts on the land. 3 people in UAE have lost their lives, and maybe it is due to the impacts on land which have happened of the ballistic missile. But note the huge number, 221 ballistic missiles fired by Iran towards the UAE. Look at the number of drones, 1,305 drones fired by Iran at UAE. And these drones are also the new Shahid drones that they have, the indigenous technology that they have, very, very lethal. Nearly 1,229 were intercepted, but 76 drones have had impact on land in the UAE. They must have also caused a lot of damage. 76 impacts on the land. UAE is saying cruise missiles, even more dangerous. Between 8 of them fired 8 of them fired by Iran against the UAE, all 8 were intercepted. But if you put this together, there are nearly 1,600 such attacks happening on UAE in the last 1 week. The UAE has shown its prowess by being able to intercept most of these attacks, but still I think 76 drones impacting and 2 impacts of ballistic missiles on the ground in UAE, killing 3 people. This shows, I think, the scale of this war. These figures being put out by the UAE now for the first time, a consolidated figure of the last 8 days, shows the extent at which the UAE has faced these attacks from Iran. And no wonder the Iranian president is now apologizing to the UAE for this barrage of attacks on its Middle Eastern neighbor.
If one were to assume, this is how the situation will look like in the next few days as well, because with the United States making it amply clear that all they're going to settle for is a complete surrender and Iran not giving in as yet, these are some US military bases that continue to be located in UAE. And what this magnitude of the cruise missiles, ballistic missiles being launched by Iran directed towards some of these Gulf nations where these military assets are located also is self-explanatory on what explains the air closure that we're seeing over UAE repeatedly. And today, of course, there's an update that's come in on how the debris from one of the projectiles intercepted also fell very close to the airport, which led to a little bit of an inconvenience too. Thank you so much, Aman, for joining us with that update. Speaking of which, let's talk about residents of Riyadh now. They have come out to say that they do not want Saudi Arabia to be drawn into the war between the United States, the Israelis and Iran. Nick Robertson, in fact, gets us this report from CNN International. Take a look.
This is one of the main cafe boulevards in Riyadh. It's Friday night. This is a great place where people love to come and chill. There's sports on the radio there. The war here has been going on for about a week now, so it's a good place to come and ask people what they think. What do you think about the current situation with Iran trying to strike Saudi?
It's not good, actually.
Are you worried?
The war in general, it's not good. Not for anyone. No one is winning. Everyone is losing.
Are you angry with Iran about what's happening?
No.
Well, why not?
This government, Saudi, is very strong.
Are you worried about the Iran strikes here?
No, I'm not worried about anything. Everything is safe and everything is okay.
Why?
We are living, enjoying life, and we are now go around after iftar. Everything is good.
We don't want to reach the war we fear. We don't want to reach the crises that Arab countries like Lebanon, Syria and Iraq went through. People have had enough. We should just love and understand each other.
How long do you think all this is going to last for?
This time I think it will take a little bit time.
Weeks or months?
Probably. But I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not.
Do you want your government here to strike back at Iran?
Actually, no.
Because
Not good idea.
One of the things I found interesting there was when we wrapped the interview, pulled back with the camera, people spoke more freely and they said, look, the reason we don't want Saudi to get involved is we're just afraid if we start fighting, President Trump will pull out and we'll be left high and dry alone to fight it out with Iran.